Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, we are going to be talking about cold email campaign troubleshooting. So in other words, how do you track your metrics? How do you identify exactly what is going wrong and how to fix it? Now, why does this even matter? The reason why it matters is because if you don't know how to troubleshoot your cold email campaigns, if you're looking at your dashboard and you're looking at all the numbers, but you can't identify what the issue is, or if you can't tell whether it's your scripts, whether it's your lead list, whether it's your offer, or whether it's something else, then there is absolutely no point in running cold email campaigns in the first place. Monitoring is one of the most important things that you need to be doing on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, and even on a daily basis. You need to check if your email accounts are healthy. You need to know which one of your campaigns is performing well, which is performing better, which is performing worse. And you also need to be able to identify exactly what the issue is. So when you see that a campaign is performing better, what is the cause? What is leading to that campaign performing better than another campaign? And this is where most people screw up. They look at all the numbers, they look at all the metrics, and they simply cannot understand what is leading to a certain outcome. They think that they have an issue with their scripts, whereas it's actually deliverability. Or they think that they have an infrastructure problem, whereas it's actually their targeting. So if you actually want to run successful cold email campaigns, it's extremely important that you understand exactly why certain campaigns perform better than other campaigns. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this video. Now, for some context, my name is Alexander. I'm the founder and CEO at SparkLead. We are a done-for-you lead generation agency specializing in cold email outreach for agencies and B2B companies. I've sent over 5 million cold emails so far, booked over 1,000 sales calls, generated 1.2 million in closed revenue and 4.5 million in sales pipeline for my clients just using cold email. Now, in order to get these results for my clients, I've launched hundreds of cold email campaigns and I've had to monitor and optimize every single one of those campaigns. So if it wasn't for proper ongoing monitoring and optimization, we would have never been able to get these results. So first of all, these are the metrics that most people track: open rates, click-through rates, reply rates, positive reply rates, and meetings booked rate. Now, half of these metrics are completely useless and they don't mean a single thing. So I'm going to break down exactly what you should be tracking and what is a waste of time. So the first metric that you should not be tracking is open rates because it's completely useless. Open rates do not mean a thing. If people are opening your emails, so what? It doesn't tell you anything useful. The only reason people track open rates is to check deliverability. But even then, there are much better ways to do that with other metrics that I'm going to walk you through later on in the video. Plus, tracking open rates inserts a little pixel in your emails, and to email providers, this looks like you're including a link in your email. And when you include a link in your email, it damages your deliverability in the long run, and you're going to have issues with your email accounts and your domains, which is going to force you to burn the entire infrastructure and start all over again. So to avoid that from happening, you want to switch off your open rate tracking. Now, the second metric you shouldn't be tracking is click-through rates. First of all, if you're putting links in your emails in the first place, you're doing it all wrong already. Because who is going to click on a link that is in an email from a stranger, from someone that they don't even know? It looks scammy as hell, and in 2025, there are so many scams going on that people will just report that email as spam. So first of all, you want to remove all links from your emails, and then you want to switch off click-through rate tracking as well. So you shouldn't be tracking open rates, and you shouldn't be tracking click-through rates. Okay, so now I'm going to run you through the metrics that you should be tracking. The first metric that you should be tracking is reply rates. This is your deliverability indicator. So this is the percentage of people who responded to your email, whether it's positive or negative. So it doesn't matter if someone asked for a meeting, whether they asked for more information, or whether they told you not to email them ever again. If you got the response, then this counts in your reply rate. And this is your best indicator of deliverability, because if people are not responding to your emails, even just to say stop reaching out, then it means that they probably are not receiving your emails in the first place. Now, when it comes to reply rate, you should be hitting at least 1% if I'm being extremely conservative. Ideally, you want to be over 1.5%. Now, if you're below 1%, then it usually means that you have a deliverability issue. It has nothing to do with your scripts, nothing to do with your lead lists, nothing to do with your offer. It only has to do with your deliverability, meaning that it has to do with the infrastructure, with your email accounts, with your domains, with your warm-up process, or if you're including links in your emails. It has to do with all the technical aspects of your campaigns. Now, one piece of advice I could give you to boost your reply rates is by adding a disclaimer right at the bottom of your email that says, "P.S. Please reply with no thanks, and I won't send you any more emails." Now, this is going to replace your unsubscribe link, which you shouldn't be using anyway, because as we said previously, you don't want to have any links in your emails. The important thing here, if you want to be compliant, is just to have an opt-out in your emails. So if you have this disclaimer that clearly acts as that opt-out where people have the option to stop receiving your emails, then you are going to be compliant. But at the same time, you're now giving people who are not interested a reason to respond to your emails as opposed to just clicking on a link and unsubscribing. So by doing this, you're going to be forcing replies. You're going to be able to understand if people are actually seeing your emails, and you're also going to be able to improve your domain reputation because you're just going to be getting more replies. Now, the second metric that you want to be tracking is your positive reply rate. So out of all the replies you got, how many of them are actually positive? How many people asked for a meeting? How many people asked for more information? And how many people just indicated some sort of interest? So if you got 10 replies and you have a 50% positive reply rate, that's 5 positive replies in total. So target numbers here are minimum 5%. Ideally, you want to be more than 5 to 10%, but the range here depends on your target market. So typically, if you're going after enterprise clients, we usually see a lower positive reply rate than if you're going after smaller businesses. So here, it really depends on your ICP, who you're reaching out to, what your offer is, so what exactly you're selling as well. But typically speaking, if you're above 5 to 10%, then it means that you're doing something right. Now, if your positive reply rate is below 5%, it means you have one of the following issues. It means that your offer is not good enough, your lead list is not accurate, and you're targeting the wrong people. It means that your scripts are not good enough, and the message is just not resonating with your ICP. And it also means that your assets, so everything you have around your cold email campaigns, like your website, your landing page, your YouTube channel, your LinkedIn profile, your Twitter profile, just everything, all your assets around your cold email campaigns are just not good enough. So this has nothing to do with infrastructure, nothing to do with deliverability. It has nothing to do with people seeing your emails. Those issues are going to show in your overall reply rate and not in your positive reply rate. So if you are running campaigns and you have a low positive reply rate, it's a bit hard for me to pinpoint exactly what the issue is without looking at your campaigns. But typically, it's going to be one of the 4 factors that I just mentioned. Now, in order to really understand which of those 4 factors is actually causing the problem, you just need to start testing different offers and then analyzing the results. Or maybe you need to change the scripts and then reanalyze the results, or use the same scripts on a different audience and then analyze the results. So there's a lot of split testing and there's a lot of optimizing that comes into play if you really want to pinpoint why your positive reply rate is not high. Now, the third metric that you need to be tracking is your meetings booked rate. So this is going to be your inbox management indicator. Now, this is not a metric that you can just read directly off your Smart Lead or Instantly dashboard. This is something that you need to track manually. And this metric is how many positive replies turn into actual meetings. So if you're getting 20 positive replies, you should be booking at least 5 meetings. So you should aim for a 25% meetings booked rate. Now, if your meetings booked rate is below 20%, it usually means that you have an inbox management issue. So that could mean that you're not responding to leads fast enough. So when you receive that initial interested response, you need to get back to that lead within the first 5 to 10 minutes. If you don't, it means that that lead is probably going to go cold. And then when you do respond, they're just going to ignore you. So you're not going to get the meeting booked. The second issue here might be that you're not handling objections properly. So it's very common that a prospect might get back to you asking for more information about the cost or about the types of clients you've worked with in the past, or just some more information about your service. So if you don't tackle that objection head on, and if you don't answer the actual question, and you're just trying to bypass the objection to book the meeting, then what's going to happen is that your prospect is just going to ignore you because you're not answering their question, so you're not going to get the meeting booked. And this goes hand in hand with the final issue, which is that you're just giving people the wrong information. So you're just not answering people's questions accurately. So just to summarize, if you're not turning your positive replies into meetings booked, it usually comes down to how you manage those conversations after the initial reply. So now that you know what all the metrics are and what you need to be tracking and what you shouldn't be tracking, how do you actually prioritize campaign performance? How do you actually judge whether a campaign is performing well or whether it's not performing well? So let's go through the metrics in order of importance. The most important metric when you're running a cold email campaign is revenue generated. This is the only metric that is actually going to put money in your pocket. Hence, it's the most important metric. The second most important metric is meetings booked. So how many meetings are you actually booking from this cold email campaign? The third most important metric is positive replies. So how many interested prospects is this cold email campaign generating? The fourth metric is total replies, and this is just our basic deliverability confirmation. And then finally, we have open rates and click-through rates, which you just shouldn't be tracking because they're meaningless. So starting from today, this should be your daily monitoring checklist. Every single day, just open up your dashboard and make sure that your reply rate is above 1 to 1.5%. Your positive reply rate is above 5 to 10%, and your meeting book rate is above 20 to 25%. And any metric that falls below these targets, you now know exactly what the issue could be. So you now know exactly how to fix it. Now let's get into the actual troubleshooting framework. If your reply rate is below 1%, it's usually a deliverability issue. So the solution here is to check for your domain reputation, review all your email accounts, reduce the sending volume, so send less emails per email account per day. And finally, there's only one case where your scripts and your targeting could lead to a deliverability issue. This is the only exception because usually your scripts and your targeting affect your positive reply rate. But in this case, there's only one exception where it could also affect your deliverability. And this is where your scripts and your targeting are so bad and they're so inaccurate and irrelevant where people manually report you as spam. Because if you build a lead list of real estate companies, but you didn't clean up that lead list, you didn't actually check if it's real estate companies. So there's actually accounting firms in there, or there's marketing agencies in there. So then you write the scripts and you're referencing real estate companies in your scripts, but there's actually an accounting firm in there. Then when they receive your email, it's going to be completely irrelevant to them. And what you're offering is not going to make any sense. So what are they going to do? They're going to report you as spam. And bear in mind that Google, for example, makes it so easy for your prospects to report you as spam. When you receive an email from an unknown email account, there's a yellow banner on top of the email that says report as spam. So it's very easy for someone to just click on the button and report you as spam. So the solution here is just write better scripts and make sure that you clean your lead lists and you know exactly who you're reaching out to. Now, when it comes to your positive reply rate, if it's below 5%, it's usually an offer issue, a messaging issue, a lead list issue, or even a landing page and a campaign asset issue. So the solution here is to test new scripts, refine your offer, just make a better offer, clean up your lead list, improve your landing page, and also make sure that all your assets that are surrounding your cold email campaigns, like your website and all your social media profiles, whether it's on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Twitter, they all look credible. Make sure that you're not a ghost on social media, because the first thing that people do when they receive a cold email is they take that domain, they paste it in the search bar, and they look at your website. If your website is not good enough and it's not credible, they're not going to respond to you. Or if they search up your name on social media and you have no account on YouTube, no Instagram account, no Facebook account, no Twitter account, and you're just a ghost, then once again, you just don't look credible and you look like a scammer, so people are not going to respond to you. So a lot of the times, if you're experiencing a low positive reply rate, it might not directly be because of your cold email campaigns. It could be an indirect consequence of not having a credible website and a social media presence. Now, if your meeting booked rate is below 20%, then once again, it's an inbox management issue. Respond to prospects faster, get better at objection handling, and follow up more consistently with prospects. When someone responds to you positively and they ask for a meeting and then you send over a calendar invite, but then they ignore you, so you don't actually get the meeting booked, then you need to keep following up with those prospects indefinitely until you get a yes or a no. So just follow up more consistently and you will start converting more positive replies into meetings booked. Now, just a couple of common mistakes here to avoid. Stop tracking vanity metrics like open rates and click-through rates that don't really mean anything. Don't include any links in your cold emails. Monitor all your cold email campaigns on a daily basis, because the problems will compound quickly if you don't monitor. Make sure you properly understand what leads to certain outcomes, okay? So do not misdiagnose the issue. If you have a low reply rate, that's a deliverability issue. If you have a low positive reply rate, that's a script issue. So next time you have a low positive reply rate, don't go ahead and change your infrastructure, because it's not going to change anything if you don't actually change the cause of the problem. And finally, this is the most important one of all, do not give up too early, because campaigns need time to optimize. So if you launch a campaign today, but your reply rate is less than 1% tomorrow, you're not giving the campaign enough time to build any momentum. So usually you need to wait at least a week before analyzing your metrics. So don't change a single thing about your campaigns until a week goes by. So the bottom line here is that most people fail at cold email because they have no idea what to measure. They're flying blind, they're making random changes, and they're just hoping that something works out of all those random changes that they've made. Now, you have a systematic approach to identify and to fix issues with your cold email campaigns. So now you can use these metrics to your advantage to diagnose all the problems accurately and find the most relevant solutions. Now, obviously, in order to turn a bad cold email campaign into a really good, high-performing cold email campaign, there's a lot more work that needs to be done besides having a checklist. It's only after running hundreds of campaigns on behalf of our clients that we're now able to pinpoint why exactly certain campaigns perform well and why certain campaigns don't perform well. So you can do all this yourself and spend countless hours trying to troubleshoot all your campaigns, or we can do it for you and help you sign 1 to 3 new clients a month through targeted cold email campaigns. Now, if you want to see some of our client results, then you can just check out our website at sparkleadgo.com. And I'm also going to scroll through a couple of client testimonials here. So if you run a B2B business and you want us to help you get more clients with cold email, then just click on the first link in the description to book a call with me. But just a quick note here, this is only for agencies and B2B companies that are doing more than 50K a month. If you're doing less than 50K a month, but you still want some help with your cold email campaigns to scale your business, then click on the second link in the description, fill in the application form, and if we're a good fit to work together, then I'll reach out to you. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, then please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment below if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next one.